My mother is a child of the mountains. Why do mountain people choose to stay in the mountains?
What does your mother say?
Mom says for mountain people living in the mountains is like feet being in shoes. It's comfortable. They've lived here for generations once they leave the mountains.
There's nothing else for them who says. Xiangtu means having hope or an ideal. The harder life is, the more you need it.
The year I failed my college entrance exams. I didn't go to the city to find work. Instead, I took over my father's job as a rural postman. On the night before my first day, my silent father took the mailbag I had already packed, took everything out to double-check it all over again. My mother looked worried, feeling that this job was just too grueling, and that I'd be better off working in the city. But I didn't care. Being a rural postman was a government iron rice bowl. It was nothing like being a common laborer. Father drew me a map of the route he had walked his entire life. The 223-li journey was planned for 3 days, but I was overconfident, thinking I could finish it in just 2. Seeing my naivety, father gave me only one piece of advice. Walking 200 li once is easy. The hard part is walking it for a lifetime. At the crack of dawn, with the morning mist still lingering, I slung on my brand new mailbag and prepared to set off. Father called over his old partner, wanting him to accompany me, but Lao stayed close to father, refusing to budge. He only seemed to recognize his old master. Toward me, the young man who was about to take father's place. He was full of instinctive resistance. Fine, stay then.
It's less trouble for me anyway. I'm leaving.
Feeling a bit frustrated, I left him behind and set out alone, but father couldn't help but worry. Before I had gone very far, he quietly followed and caught up with me. He was worried about me walking such a long mountain route alone for the first time. Fearing I might face difficulties, he decided to accompany me on his final trip. Mom stood at the door watching as our figures faded into the distance.
She repeatedly reminded us to be careful and not to drink untreated water.
Mom, go back inside.
Good boy. Be a good companion.
And so 2 men and a dog set out on their journey. The silence between us was heavier than the morning mist after the rain. Over mountains, across bridges, and through rivers, I walked ahead, my head down, focusing only on the path, nearly colliding with a woodcutter coming the other way. Afterward, I clumsily practiced how to yield properly on the narrow trail. The novelty soon wore off as the path grew steeper, and the mailbag grew heavier. That's when my youthful pride kicked in. I didn't want my father to think I couldn't hack it, so no matter how tired I felt, I wouldn't be the one to ask for a break. Eventually it was my father who sensed our exhaustion. He suggested we stop and rest for a while. We hadn't exchanged a word while walking. Staying silent, even while resting, felt incredibly awkward. To break the heavy silence, we both searched for something to say. The first few words, long in the making, only made the atmosphere more subtle. Are you tired? After miles of silence, we finally began a bit of awkward small talk. Massaging his legs, he sighed and said that if his legs hadn't failed him, he wouldn't be retiring early. I struggled to find common ground with him, but out of concern, I urged him to go back and rest, saying I could handle the rest of the way alone. My father looked a bit helpless at my suggestion. He didn't say anything more. He simply stood up in silence and continued on his way. The failed conversation only stirred up my restless thoughts, quickened my pace as if trying to outrun the memories haunting me. When I was a child, because father was away delivering mail all year round, he couldn't even make it home once a year, though he always brought back toys for me, which made the other children envious. But these gifts never brought us closer as father and son. I was even a bit afraid of him. Every time I heard he was coming home, I would stay out playing until late on purpose. Even now, I still can't bring myself to call him dad. Lost in these thoughts, my pace quickened unconsciously. But when I suddenly turned around and saw father was gone, I panicked, worried something had happened. I dropped the mailbag and ran back to find him, but I only saw Lao waiting there. I wanted to shout for him, but the word dad wouldn't come out. Just as I was about to lose my mind, father finally appeared. It turned out he had just stepped aside to relieve himself. As I sighed in relief, father suddenly flew into a rage. He didn't care how worried I had been. Instead, he berated me for leaving the mailbag behind. Father sternly told me that the mailbag must never leave your sight at any time. This is the iron law that every rural postman must follow. After crossing several mountains, we finally reached the first village. I expected a lively scene, just like in the movies, with villagers swarming around to receive their long-awaited letters. After all, father often said he was more popular here than the county magistrate. The mountain folk don't mind not seeing the magistrate for days, but they can't go without him. However, reality came as a cold splash of water. There were no cheering crowds like I'd imagined. The villagers were all busy with their farm work. We were greeted only by a dilapidated village office. It felt as if it didn't matter whether we showed up or not. It made no difference to them. Father was used to this. He walked into the room with ease, boiling water, and making tea, as if he were back in his own home. It wasn't until Hua barked a few times that the village secretary came out to meet us. A smile lit up my father's face as he proudly introduced me.
This is my son. From now on, he'll be the one walking this post road.
The secretary assumed father was being promoted to director and offered his congratulations. But when he learned that father was simply retiring early, his joy instantly turned into pity and resentment. He felt the injustice of it all for my father. He said the teachers and doctors who came to work in the mountains all became government officials after just a few years. But father had spent his whole life trekking through these mountains, only to end up with a body full of ailments and no official title to show for it. Father didn't react to any of this. He just smoked his pipe. Calmly to him, fame and fortune seemed like distant trivial things. But listening to it made me feel very uneasy. I felt wronged on his behalf and couldn't help but start complaining. Only then did father mention that a month ago, the branch director came to inspect the route and said right then that for such a grueling path, father deserved a major commendation. But who would have thought that once the director returned, commendation vanished, and father was told to retire because of his age instead.
Didn't the township or the village even write you a letter of praise?
They did write one. I didn't let them send it. How could a man deliver a letter of praise to himself? Besides, and who was there to praise them? You must remember this as well. It's not right to complain about your own hardships.
With that, we stood up and prepared to head for the next stop. But as we stepped outside, I was stunned by the sight before me. Without my even noticing, the villagers had gathered outside. There was no clamor, no crowding. They just stood there silently, with the most humble and sincere gazes fixed upon us. In that moment, I finally understood that my father's true letter of commendation wasn't written on paper, but reflected in the eyes of the villagers. His true record of merit wasn't kept in any official file, but was carved into this mountain path and etched into people's hearts. In this silence that spoke louder than 1,000 words, I, who had been so full of despondency just moments ago, finally broke into a heartfelt smile.
This is my son. He'll be the one walking this mail route from now on. If you need anything, just go to him. He's no different from me.
Though there was no welcome parade, there was a lined farewell. Hearing that my father was retiring, the villagers spontaneously followed us, escorting us all the way to the village entrance. The children were particularly reluctant, clinging to their familiar grandpa postman. I had been so preoccupied with the lack of a commendation letter, but now I realize how narrow-minded I was. What do those empty titles matter compared to the devotion of the people? This is the highest honor earned by my father's own feet, step by step. It was from this very moment that the relationship between my father and me began to change. I stopped being taciturn and began to initiate conversation with him. I finally understood that to truly know my father, I must first understand these mountains and these honest villagers.
In these mountains, you can walk for miles without seeing a soul. It's enough to bore even the gods to death.
It's not boring.
If gods can fly through the clouds, why do mountain folk choose to live here?
Because they are the descendants of immortals.
It only then occurred to me that my mother was also from the mountains, and my father told me the story of how he and mother first met. Many years ago, on a day of torrential rain, while my young mother was herding cattle for the production team, she accidentally sprained her ankle and was left stranded alone in the mountains. Father, who happened to be passing by on his route, found her, and without hesitation carried her all the way down the mountain. It was that very journey on his back that made mother decide he was the one. While the villagers rushed over to anxiously check on the water buffalo, only father's eyes never once left mother. Later, father brought mother out of the mountains, and they started a family. And then I came along. After crossing several more peaks, we arrived at the second village. Their father told me that a postman's job isn't always so straightforward. Besides the bulk mail for the village committee, there are special letters that must be delivered to certain people by hand. The first recipient we went to see was Grandma Wu, who is blind. As we walked in, we saw Grandma Wu sitting alone by her door. She seemed like a statue of watchfulness, until she heard Lao Er's familiar bark. A glimmer of life returned to her vacant eyes. She knew the postman had arrived. Father took a letter from his bag and handed it to her. Grandma Wu took the letter and pressed it against her face. Only then did she tear it open. After putting away the money inside, she handed the letter to father for him to read it to her.
Read it.
All right.
Hello, Grandma. I hope you're keeping well. Your eye trouble hasn't flared up again, has it? Is your back pain any better?
How many times have I asked that?
Everything is fine with me here. Things are changing fast here in the special zone. I've been very busy with work. I haven't been able to find the time to visit you. If you have any trouble, just tell the postman who brings the mail. He'll find someone to help you out.
All right. He says I should let you know if I need anything. Write to him and tell him that there's a new postman now.
Granny Wu, didn't I tell you? My son has taken over the route. It's the same as me doing it.
My father has kept up this white lie for over a decade. To Granny Wu, the repeated contents of this letter are her only connection to the outside world, her only reason to keep on living. Father stopped halfway through the reading and handed me the blank paper, gesturing for me to continue, and panic surged as I looked at the blank sheet in my hand. So I just braced myself and made up a few lines.
Living all alone in these mountains is truly not easy. Life here in the special zone is much better. I really should bring you out to see it. You can enjoy your later years in comfort. I wish you good health and all the best.
The letter finished, we stood up to take our leave. Behind us, Granny Wu remained in her familiar chair. She kept waving toward us for a long time as we walked away. It was as if she was seeing our family on a long journey. There are many people like Granny Wu deep in these mountains. Some are left behind children. Others are elderly people living alone. A postman delivers much more than just mail. Carries the most precious bonds and longings between people. I couldn't help but think of my own mother. Father was away all year on the mail route, while mother waited faithfully at home. Was she not also a lonely soul, caught in a cycle of waiting? We reached the third village before nightfall. A pure Dong girl appeared before us, looking like a spirit of the mountains. Saying Lao, running toward her, she knelt down gently to pet him. It was her crystal clear smile that made my naive heart race, leaving me too nervous to speak. The girl told us a family in the village was supposed to have a wedding 2 days ago, but hearing that father was coming, they moved the banquet to tonight, just to share a drink with the respected rural postman. As darkness fell, the bonfire lit up the night sky. The young men and women changed into their exquisite ethnic costumes, singing and dancing around the fire. The Dong girl and I danced joyfully together in the firelight. The air was thick with the energy of youth. A long-awaited smile of relief appeared on my father's face. In the days, he too seemed to recall his own youth. Lulled by the wine, father drifted into a deep sleep, filled with fond memories. Early the next morning, father woke up to find the Dong girl and me in the kitchen, tending the fire and laughing together, just like a young couple in love. After a warm breakfast in the village, we set off once again, seeing me in high spirits. Father couldn't help but tease me a little.
Every time I come into these mountains and see her, I think of you. I thought to myself, maybe one day, if my son sees her, he won't be able to tear himself away either.
As we continued, the bond between us had grown much closer. While passing a stream, father told me, wading across here saves us 8 li of mountain trekking. This is a shortcut he found over the years to save time, but these same icy waters have left him with chronic leg ailments. Father habitually began rolling up his trousers to enter the water, but I stopped him.
I've got this. You don't need to go into the water anymore.
I'm used to it. 1 or 2 more times won't make a difference.
Oh, you. Just let yourself be looked after for once.
He carefully held the post bag high above my head and waded steadily to the other side. Then I quickly returned to carry my father on my back. In my memory, father had always been a towering figure of strength, but as I actually felt his weight on my back, I realized he was even lighter than the post bag. He too was overcome with emotion. He never imagined that one day he would be carried on my back like a child. He struggled to contain his feelings. Perhaps most Chinese fathers and sons are like this, never good with words, showing all their love through their actions. By the time we reached the shore, father was already in tears. To keep me from noticing, he quickly turned his face away. Lao diligently brought over dry wood, a silent understanding built with father over the years. I was puzzled. What's this for?
He brought wood so you can warm yourself. Every time I'm here, I warm up by a fire.
I don't need to. Let's keep moving.
Warm up for a bit. Why? It's Lao. as way of showing he cared.
This was not just Lao's gesture of kindness, but also a reflection of father's own unspoken care for me. Sitting by the campfire, our conversation became more fluid and heartfelt than ever before. My father happened to notice a scar on my neck and asked how I got it. I offhandedly said it happened when I was 13, while carrying a plow home from the fields, and I was accidentally cut by the plowshare. My father wasn't home back then. He hadn't known, and seeing the scar stirred a deep sense of guilt in him for his absence. He realized then that he had missed far too many milestones in my life. As a rural postman, he may have been dedicated to his work, but as a father he felt he had failed. Fell silent for a moment, then slowly began to tell me about the day I was born. Back then he was busy trekking the postal routes in another county, often unable to return home even once a year. On the day I was born, my mother wrote him a letter. My father spent his whole life delivering letters, but the only one he ever received was the joyful news of my arrival. He was so overjoyed that he spent an entire month's wages to treat his colleagues in celebration. This was the first time I had ever heard these stories. At that moment I understood that it wasn't that he didn't love me, but that his duty forced him to be absent during my childhood. Now that I am walking the same postal road he once did, I finally realize the true hardship and weight of this job, and I've come to see how difficult it really was for him as a father.
Dad, it's time to go.
What did you say?
I said, Dad, it's time to go.
Did you hear that? Lao. Era. He called me Dad.
This simple word meant the world to my father. Carrying immense weight, a rare smile finally spread across his face. We continued on our way, but soon a nearly vertical cliff face blocked our path. Just as I was wondering how we'd ever climb it, a rope was lowered from the top. We used the rope to pull ourselves up, but midway my foot slipped. A loose rock tumbled down, grazing the top of my father's head. Instead of blaming me, my father just looked up and told me to be careful. Exhausted, I finally reached the summit, only to find that the one who threw the rope was a boy named Chewa. Looking at the treacherous cliff, my father told him not to come back here anymore.
What? Chewa replied, my grandfather says, this is my job. Grandpa said, you fell down the mountain for us once before. We can't let you fall for our sake a second time.
Your grandfather is getting senile. Mom, tell him this. From now on, it's my son who will be taking this route. There's no need for you to wait here anymore.
It's my job. Because you fell once for our sake. We can't let your son fall for us either.
I finally realized that my father's silence was a form of protection. Never spoke of those life-threatening dangers at home, simply to keep us from worrying. I struck up a conversation with Chiwa. This boy also harbored a dream, one hemmed in by these mountains. The treacherous paths had forced him to drop out of school, but he never stopped studying, dreaming of studying journalism through a correspondence course and becoming a reporter. He wanted to tell the stories of the mountains to the outside world. After Chewa left, I pressed my father about his fall down the mountain. It turned out he'd been unconscious for a day and a night. The whole village lit torches to search the mountain before they finally rescued him. Finally understood the hardships he endured just then. Chewa's voice echoed through the mountains.
Hey! Brother! Grandpa, I'm here. I got my grades out of 3 subjects. I got 2 excellents and 1 good. My teacher even recommended my essay to a newspaper. The teacher was going to refund my tuition, but then said he'd support me until I graduate. He also told me to practice interviewing. Next time you visit, I'll interview you.
Spin. It's a deal.
Go on home now.
Chewa's good news made me genuinely happy for him, but a flicker of loneliness crossed my father's face, because for him, there would be no next time. After that, we both fell into a long silence, lost in our own thoughts until a mountain song drifted over. Only then did my father speak up, asking if I had feelings for that Dong girl. But my thoughts were more practical. I told him I wouldn't marry a girl from the mountains, because I didn't want another girl to repeat my mother's fate, leaving her home, only to spend her whole life homesick, watching the local girl pass by humming a tune without a care in the world. Neither of us could find the words to speak. After the silence, I suddenly remembered that old question.
When I was little, Mom would tell me about the mountains, and I'd ask her, why do mountain people live in the mountains?
What did your mother say?
She said, mountain people live in the mountains, just like feet tucked inside shoes.
Comfortable to father, entering the mountains meant walking a post road for a lifetime. To Mom, following father out of the mountains was also its own kind of lifelong post road. At that moment, I finally understood the hardships they both endured. I realized that the heart can grow more weary than the legs. This only deepened my resolve to take over from my father and keep walking this post road. As we went on, father's leg pain worsened, leaving him with a heavy limp. At the last village, I told him to rest here and that I would handle the final deliveries alone. While I was sorting through the mail, a sudden gust of wind sent several letters flying. I only had time to grab the rest of the mailbag, but in that moment, my aging father forgot all his pain. Just like his younger self, he leapt up and ran, chasing the scattered letters with Lao with surprising agility. This was how he and Lao had always been on this route, running across the mountains together. This time they recovered more than just letters. They briefly reclaimed the years of their youth. That night we stayed at a villager's house. While soaking our feet, we shared a heart-to-heart conversation. I asked again, for generations these people have lived in the mountains, surrounded by nothing but peaks. But father told me, one must have hope that when you have something to live for, you have everything.
Without that sense of purpose, life loses its flavor, no matter how good it is. Just like this postal route of ours. It's a hard life, to be sure, but after doing it for so long, you grow attached to the people and the stories along the way. That's when the work feels worthwhile.
After soaking our feet, I began sorting the mail. We will be back home by this time tomorrow. We began a special kind of handover. But I wasn't briefing him on the mountain trails anymore. I was briefing him on the domestic life he was about to face. I gave him careful instructions. When you're back, visit the neighbors who helped our family. The village chief has his quirks, but he does help the village prosper. After all, everyone relies on him to allocate fertilizer and seeds. The crops can't wait even a day. From farm chores to mother's health, I covered every detail. Father listened in silence, as if lost in a trance as time drifted back. Isn't this exactly how my father looked, fretting over me before I left? In just 3 days, the mailbag seemed to have completed a silent handover. Father gazed at my sleeping face for a long time. Then, at the mailbag that had been his companion for most of his life, an unprecedented sense of peace and fulfillment filled his heart. He had just lain down when I turned over in my sleep and snuggled into his arms. We had never been close yet in our sleep. We shared our first embrace, and at this moment a single unconscious gesture completely dissolved all the barriers between us. Father and son fell asleep with smiles, looking forward to the journey home tomorrow. After a day's rest at home, it was another early morning. I rose early, skillfully shouldered the mailbag and prepared to set out alone. Lao followed behind while father stood still, like a silent mountain, watching his younger self walk into the distance. Seeing father standing still, Lao ran a few steps and then turned back. Father watched my silhouette in silence. Only as I was about to vanish at the end of the path did he bend down. With all his might, he nudged Lao forward, sending us off to cross mountains, bridges, and rivers. And at this moment, the mountain folk are waiting for that man and that dog to bring hope and news from afar. In turn, he carries their aspirations back to the world beyond. Peak upon peak, beyond the 4 seasons, there are hearths and homes. Soul to soul beyond the goodbyes, there are the enduring bonds of care.